Go. So this evening we are going to do the formal ritual or structure of taking refuge and taking the Bodhisattva vow. Once we do this, we maintain our connection of refuge and bodhicitta by daily recitation or even just remembering the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. But today we do a more formal structure in which we make contact with all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And this is absolutely central to Buddhist practice. Our experience of being in samsara begins with unawareness of the open ground. And due to that, we develop this sense of being a separate individual, each of us with our own body, having our own thoughts, feelings, and so on. We are isolated from what is around us because our starting place is always I, me, myself. Of course, we need to access the food and clothing and friendships of this world. But these situations are all transient. They don't last long. So that means that we get close to people and then they vanish, they die, they move away, we fall out with them. So when we take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, we are finding a secure site of connectivity. Through connecting with them, we gradually dissolve the self-referential attitude that keeps us wandering through the six realms. And as we release ourselves from being so concerned with our own welfare, we have increasing capacity to relate to others, to be present for others, and to develop the true bodhisattva path. So this is why we do these practices. We want to release ourselves from the prison of ego in order to be available to freely connect with all living beings. So refuge is the basis of wisdom, and bodhicitta, or the bodhisattva orientation, is the basis of compassion. So the text begins with the shortest refuge and bodhicitta, one which was used every day by all the Tibetan communities, because it is the essence of refuge and bodhicitta. So this is at the top of page 1. You can recite in your own language. We recite it 3 times. Okay, so we recite the first 2 lines at the top of the page 1. We recite it together 3 times. Do it in your own language. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and assembly of the excellent ones until enlightenment is gained. Through the virtue of practicing generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. So again, we say it, I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and assembly of the excellent ones until enlightenment is gained. Through the virtue of practicing generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. I go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and assembly of the excellent ones until enlightenment is gained. Through the virtue of practicing generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings. So then we have the practice of accumulating merit. Merit comes from the idea that virtue, good deeds, and actions have a potency. They have an energy which can be shared out and given to others to bring benefit to their lives. So I'll just read it through, and as I'm reading it, you can imagine the meaning of the words, and you try to visualize that you are offering all these things to the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the great Arhats, and so on. No, I think I'll just do it in English, but they have the text now, so they can read it in Russian. But in order to grasp this precious mind, we need the mind directed towards enlightenment, to the Tathagatas, the Buddhas, and to the sacred Dharma, that stainless jewel, and to the offspring of the Buddha, those oceans of good qualities, I sweetly offer as many flowers and fruits as there are, and all the kinds of medicines that there are, and whatever jewels there are in the world, and whatever pure and pleasing water there is, and jeweled mountains, and similarly forest groves, quiet and joyous, and creepers bedecked with adorning flowers, and trees whose branches bow down with good fruit, and fragrances of the celestial and other realms, and incense, wish-fulfilling trees, and trees of jewels, harvests appearing without cultivation, and everything else worthy of offering as ornaments, and the wonderfully pleasing cry of wild geese, and all such gifts which belong to no one, reaching to the very limit of the infinitely vast realm of the sky. So we offer whatever is beautiful and attractive. And part of our practice with this is when we go out in the world, if you see the sunset or you see children laughing on the way to school, whatever is beautiful and harmonious, you can instantly offer this to all the Buddhas. Because the habit of automatic sharing is part of how we separate ourselves from our individual identity and weave ourselves into the texture of the world. Okay, and then we ask the Buddhas to accept our offering. Imagining these, I offer them to the Buddhas, the most excellent of beings, together with their offspring, the Bodhisattvas. May these compassionate ones, the excellent sights of good qualities, think kindly of me and accept my offerings. So the reason we offer this is because we need their help. So then we say, I am without merit and quite destitute. I'm like a beggar. I have nothing to offer. You are the ones who have something I need. Therefore, benefactors, you who think of the welfare of others, please accept these offerings for my sake. So you could imagine that yourself and the Buddhas are like two knitting needles. And your life activity is like the wool. So by keeping yourself and the Buddhas moving together, you gradually can knit something warm and comforting for all beings. And we say, to the victors and their offspring, I offer all my bodies, meaning all my bodies in future lives, completely and forever. Most excellent heroic beings, please accept me fully. I shall be your devoted servant. So part of our practice is to reflect on the meaning of the words we say. You might feel, oh, I don't want to be a devoted servant. But then you can reflect, well, maybe I'm already a devoted servant. Maybe I'm devoted to food or alcohol or sex or money. So much energy I devote to experiences which don't last. But by being close to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, we exist in an ocean of merit and wisdom which will endure. So then we think about the benefit of doing this practice. You say, through being completely under your care, I become freed from the fear of phenomenal existence and can act for the benefit of beings. I turn away from my former unwholesome behavior. Moreover, in future, I will not do anything unwholesome. By keeping yourself close to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you have a support system which helps us not to get too distracted or lost in destructive or meaningless activity. Then the next section, taking refuge, you can each read it in your own language and reflect on the meaning, and I'll also read it in English. Indestructible enlightenment. From this time on, and in all our future lives until enlightenment is attained, I and all beings, as many as would equal the extent of the sky, all of whom have been my own mother in my countless past lives, go for refuge to our reverent root guru and to the glorious holy gurus of the lineage. We go for refuge to the hosts of path deities in the mandalas. We go for refuge to the most perfect Buddha. We go for refuge to the most excellent Dharma. We go for refuge to the pure Sangha. So this is not just for this life, but for all our future lives. All over the world, people are dying tonight in hospitals, in their bed, in car accidents, and so on, losing contact with their familiar embodied experience. The winds of their own karma can blow them to any of the 6 realms. But when we take refuge, we develop a deep and strong bond, which gives us an orientation, a direction for all our lives. So then I'll read this next page, and you can read it in your own language and reflect on the meaning. To the Buddha, Dharma, and the best assembly, I go for refuge until enlightenment. By the merit arising from generosity and the other transcendent qualities, I will gain Buddhahood in order to benefit all those wandering in samsara. With the desire and intention to take all beings out of samsara, until full enlightenment is gained, I ceaselessly go to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha for refuge. Working for the sake of beings, with discerning wisdom and kindness imbuing my diligence, I will stay close to countless Buddhas and develop completely enlightened mind. May all sentient beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that is free of suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from cherishing friends and relatives and being dismissive of strangers and enemies. The vast foundation is completely free of small stones and such irritants. Made of Bedurya, it is smooth and flat like the palm of the hand. It is a truly pleasant environment. Most perfect Buddha, you are the benefactor of all beings without exception, the God who defeats the very dangerous hosts of demons. You know all things without exception, just as they are. Please come here with your entourage. Most perfect Buddha, for innumerable aeons you purified your character in order to care for wandering beings, and you completed the intention of your vast aspiration. Now, as you wish to benefit beings, please effortlessly arise from the palace of all-encompassing space, and displaying the blessing of diverse miracles, please come here with your entire retinue in order to take limitless sentient beings out of samsara. So when you're reciting this, and you have this text now, so you can recite it every day, certainly for some time, to massage the meaning into yourself. So in this kind of general Mahayana practice, we are already imagining the Buddhas. We're saying, you live in this Dharma Dhatu palace, this highest palace in samsara. Please come here, come with all the bodhisattvas, and you can imagine them moving through the sky until they're in front of you as a great assembly. And the key thing here is that we are imagining this. In our cultures, generally, we make a an opposition between reality and what is imagined. But when we study Dharma and start to understand the nature of emptiness, we see that there is no such thing as reality. We have our karmic imaginings, the imagining that subject and object are separate, that we truly exist, and that some people are good and therefore our friends, and some other people are bad and therefore not our friends. This is imagination. When we imagine things, we take people and entities in the world to be strongly real, to have inherent existence. And because of that, we keep our mind inside ourselves, and the world, this big mass of diverse material things outside. This is because we don't recognize that we are imagining all our experiences. That is to say, our mind is moving and we are creating patterns of things being real, things being good, things being bad. This is our own mind at work. And it's very important to see this. Otherwise, you think, oh, my life is very hard. I have real problems. So when I pray to the Buddha, yes, I like to do that, but I don't have too much hope. I never met the Buddha. But when I go to work, I meet my boss, and that's not so nice. So this is the view of duality. But the whole movement of Buddhist practice is to see that the mind is the most important thing. All experience is the energy of the mind. Whether you think it's outside you or inside you. So when we really start to understand our mind, making offerings to the Buddha and imagining, this is said to be even more useful and virtuous than lighting a lamp or burning some incense. From the very beginning, everything has been within the infinity of the Buddha mind. Separation is imagined, whereas integrity or inclusion is intrinsic. So this is our central understanding. It is the movement of our own mind which is the source of our troubles. So now we are imagining the sky in front of us is full of many Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They are all looking at us. They are smiling at us. They are already connected with us because they have awoken to the fact that separation is an illusion. It's not that we have to struggle to make connection and stop separation. Separation itself is an illusion. So then we take the vow of refuge. So according to tradition, we put our hands together in front of our heart and we say the following 3 times. I will say it once and then you can repeat it in your own languages. So, all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please listen to me. Teacher, please listen to me. From this time on, in all my future lives, in as many as it takes to reach full enlightenment, I, James Lowe, go for refuge to the Buddha, supreme among humans, go for refuge to the Dharma, free from desire, the best of all paths, go for refuge to the Sangha, the best of assemblies. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, gurus, path deities, and dakinis, please hear me. From today, in all my lives, for as long as enlightenment is not gained, to Bhagavan Buddha, the chief of all humans, to the holy Dharma of relative and absolute truth, peaceful and free of desire, to all the Sangha of great Bodhisattvas, the best assembly, I go for refuge with genuine devotion. So now you recite this. And then next we call upon the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to be our witness as we make a firm intention to change our behavior. So we say, I pray to my unfailing refuge, the three jewels, that the three jewels will be attentive to me here and now. So again, we're developing our sense of connectivity with the Buddhas. And we say, before the noble three jewels, with sincere faith and my body, speech, and mind, I abandon harming others and will now practice only virtue. So killing, taking what is not given, and immoderate sexual activity, these three sins of the body I completely give up and firmly decide and promise to practice the three virtuous activities of the body. Lying, calumny, rough speech, and worthless idle talk, these four sins of speech I completely renounce and firmly decide and promise to practice the four virtuous activities of speech. Covetousness, malice, and wrong views, these three sins of the mind I completely renounce and firmly decide and promise to practice the three virtuous activities of mind. These 10 sins or wrong behaviors or wrong attitudes arise from duality. I am separate from what is around me. I am not complete in myself. So I need to get things from the environment to complete me. And I also have excess of certain qualities which I need to push out into the world. Because of this sense of lacking some things and having an excess of others, I'm in a constant dynamic interaction with what is around me. In order to get free from this, on the outer level, we make a firm commitment. And on an inner level, we enter into the meditation practice through the Heart Sutra, through Tantra, Mahamudra, and Dzogchen. And in that way, releasing ourselves from the prison of duality, the basis for unkind or selfish behavior is dissolved. So now we enter into the section on the Bodhisattva vows. So you need to say out loud this first paragraph and put your own name into it when you come to that place. So you start to recite this. So by reciting this, you are making a request. And in the Dharma tradition, requests are very important. Because when we request something, we say, I need this. This is important for me. So again, it's a chance to shift our orientation away from needing the things of samsara to needing enlightenment for the sake of others. And the reason that we request the teacher to give us this connection with the Bodhisattva path is because we are not automata. We are not autonomous beings who can make our own path just by ourselves. You might think, oh, I have my problems, and if I solve my problems, then I won't have problems. But actually, we need the help of others. We need the help of those who know more. That is to say, we need help. I cannot do it by myself. This is not because we are somehow bad people. Even if we are very good people, we are people. And the identity of being a person is a false identity. You are actually a Buddha, pretending to be a sentient being. This is a little bit perverse. So we ask, teacher, open this pathway to the Bodhisattva vow for me. I want to progress on the path in the company of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They say that at the final moment of enlightenment, when all obscurations are removed and wisdom is shining out, then all the Buddhas arrive, filling the whole sky, each with a little bumpa, a little pot of water. And they pour this purifying water, which manifests as radiant light, and you're filled with light from all these Buddhas. Why? Why do they do this? Because they are very kind. Because they know that lurking inside us is a little sense of, oh, I did it. I made myself a Buddha. We are not alone. We are part of the mandala of all the Buddhas. So then we have this next very famous phrase from Shantideva: when merely the thought of helping others is more excellent than the worship of the Buddhas, it is unnecessary even to mention the greatness of striving for the happiness and welfare of all beings without exception. Connecting with others, offering to others, being for others, this is the center of the path. And now there are three aspects to the Bodhisattva vow. The first aspect is that of aspiration. When you're hoping to do something, intending to do something. This is described as being like someone planning to go on a journey. Then we have the actual practice, which means to engage in the study, the reflection, and the meditation, which actually transforms the situation. And then we have the absolute truth, which is to recognize that from the very beginning, all problems have been illusion. So now in this, the bodhichitta of aspiration, you have to, together in your own languages, read this out loud, because this is you making the intention, and you put your own name into the text. So please read this together out loud. Okay, do you want to do that also, Olga? And then on with the rest of it. Did you read both of these paragraphs? Okay, so then the second paragraph, and then you come to the actual practice. So with this, we are generating a strong intention to make ourselves available for others. We are putting ourselves into the position of the one who helps others. Just before this, we promised that we wouldn't do anything harmful to other people. Now we make an intention to be useful, to bring confidence and hope to others. So with this, we are developing the sense of always being available. Now, when we look at ourselves, we have our neurotic tendencies. We get lost in daydreams. We get irritated by other people. In each of these situations, we shrink back into ourselves. But now we're developing an aspiration to stay relaxed, open, and available at all times for all beings. This is very, very unusual. Who is thinking about doing this? Politicians? Probably not. Footballers? Probably not. Businessmen? Probably not. mothers who love their own children, probably not having such a big view. So when we say this, we should also be conscious. This is a vast intention. It fills the whole sky. It fills all time until all beings are enlightened. And that's why we need to have the refuge, because our own little ego self will get sad and overwhelmed if we say these big words. So then I say something as a question to everyone who wants to take this vow. This is the vow of the actual practice. It means I will engage in all the purifying practices and all the ripening practices which will allow me to truly benefit others. Ripening, like making a flower come ripen, to make it ready. So this next part is phrased as a question that I ask to you. So you can read it silently as I say it out loud. So I say, good person called. Now you say your own name at this point. Do you wish to receive this from this bodhisattva called James Lowe, the vows of the training of all the bodhisattvas of the past and all their moral disciplines, and the vows of the training of all bodhisattvas of the future and all their moral disciplines, and the vows of the training of all the bodhisattvas who currently reside in all the realms in the 10 directions of the world and all their moral disciplines, all that was trained in by all the previous bodhisattvas and all that will be trained in by all the future bodhisattvas, and all that are being trained in by all the bodhisattvas currently residing in the realms in the 10 directions of the world, all the moral practices of the bodhisattvas, their moral practices of vows, their moral practices of accumulating virtuous dharmas, and their moral practices of benefiting beings. Do you wish to receive this? Do you wish to receive this? Do you wish to receive this? So if you wish to take up these vows, then you have to say, yes, I do, 3 times. And then together you recite these next 2 paragraphs, because this is you making your commitment, and you insert your own name at the appropriate place. So together, if you would like to recite. How wonderful that your heart opens enough to say these words. We say all sentient beings have been our own mother in a previous life and have done so many things to take care of us. So now we have a chance to repay this debt of gratitude. We will work on and on developing the qualities and skills necessary to lead others out of samsara. Particularly from the Mahayana point of view, this means I will continue to meditate and practice and inquire until the meaning of emptiness is clear for me. Because when we see that the ego pattern of self-reference is a delusion, then this releases all the energy of the Buddha mind to work for the benefit of others. So now, thirdly, we have developing the absolute bodhicitta. This term bodhicitta means awakening mind. So it's both a mind which is turned in the direction of awakening, and more profoundly, it's the mind which is always already awake. So we recite this: unfailing 3 jewels, please pay heed to me. I and all limitless sentient beings filling the sky are, from the very beginning, essentially Buddha. The full presence of knowing this as to be how we are reveals the mind as limitless, perfect awakening. So, when earlier we recited this saying, may all beings develop the equanimity free from favoring their friends and being against their enemies. This understanding of absolute bodhichitta is how we can achieve this. Because we might think some people are our friends and others are our enemies, but they are essentially Buddha. This is the essence, the truth, the basis of their manifesting. The mind is like the sky. You can't find the mind as something. It is empty of any fixed content. Due to this, it has the capacity of ceaselessly filling with new appearances, moment by moment. What arises is fresh. The past has gone, the future hasn't come. There is just this. This is the clarity of the Buddha. So when you meet a friend and you recognize them and you remember what you talked about last time, you are vomiting over the Buddha. Vomiting. Because this person you call your friend is a Buddha. And you are covering them in your thoughts and memories and expectations. So you can't see them for how they actually are because you are committed to your own idea of who they are. So when you see directly the fresh presencing of each person in each moment, birds, dogs, fish, whatever, then your own mind relaxes and opens. This is called non-dam or absolute, because there is nothing to be done, nothing to be removed, nothing to be added. So this person who is your friend is not liked by everyone. Is not liked by everyone. Everyone in the world doesn't like them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You think they are good. You like them. This seems true for you. But why is it not true for other people? In this way, if you look carefully, you start to see that everything that you judge as good or bad is just the movement of your own thoughts and memories. All phenomena are equal in emptiness. So in the course of our daily life, of course, we spend more time with some people than we do with others. But our practice is to relax into the openness of the mind and to see that the patterns of thoughts and feelings and memories are like a projection in a cinema. They are like a dream. They have no true existence. And therefore, we should be very light and flexible in our way of being with others. Because the issue is not what are the qualities of this other person, but more, what is limiting my capacity to relate to this person as they are? So now we have these verses which are affirming our pure intention to help others. So these have all been collected together by my own teacher to make this simple text. So say, just as the earlier Buddhas developed in their hearts the intention to gain enlightenment for the sake of others and pursued the training of the bodhisattvas, progressing through the stages of the path, I also, in order to bring benefit to beings, raise and develop the altruistic intention towards enlightenment, and like the Buddhas, will follow this training, practicing each of its stages. So this is our commitment, that we we want to progress in this way. So then he says, now at this time, my life is fruitful. I have truly attained human existence. Today, I am born in the Buddha's family. I have become a bodhisattva, a child of the Buddhas. So maybe read this in Russian. This is such an amazing thing. We grew up with our parents, and we went to school, and we developed our sense of identity, and we had to find a way to get some work. So we have a sense of who we are. But now we realize, oh, I have become a child of the Buddhas. This is a new beginning. No matter how lost and confused and selfish we have been, we have a chance to have a new beginning. So we say, from now on, I must practice only activity which is in harmony with my new family, so that this faultless, reverent family does not become spoiled by my actions. So this is, again, an encouragement to deeply take on this new identity. We are now bodhisattvas. We are working for the benefit of others. And therefore, we want to maintain the support of all the other bodhisattvas and stay true to this path. So then we say, today, before all the Buddhas, I invite all beings to be my guests until they reach Buddhahood. Therefore, may the gods, the asuras, and all beings be happy. If somebody is a guest and comes to your house, then you offer them something to drink, some food, you make sure that they are comfortable. You take care of them. So this is what we are saying for all beings, beings from the hell realms to the God realms, all the many kinds of animals, kind people, cruel people, murderers, torturers, doctors, nurses, all of these I will take care of. And why is this the case? Because this Buddha nature, this Buddha potential is the truth of all beings. All the limitations of the 5 poisons and confusions and karmic accumulations, all of this is incidental. It is not intrinsic. And so when we judge other people on the basis of their sexual orientation or their age or their color or their nationality, we are essentially judging them on the basis of false identity. All beings are Buddha. And if we see them in that way, we can remain calm and open and not define them in terms of the activities which arise due to the delusion of duality. So then we say, this precious, excellent, altruistic intention towards enlightenment, may it arise in those in whom it has not yet arisen. May it not deteriorate in those in whom it has arisen. May it increase evermore. Never being separated from the altruistic intention towards enlightenment and staying true to the conduct of a bodhisattva, may I be completely held by all the Buddhas. May I abandon all karmic activities arising due to the obstructing demons. So when in Tibetan monasteries, the monks are reciting these kind of verses every day, several times a day, because what they are doing is massaging the blessing of the Dharma into them. And we live in modernist cultures. We are addicted to innovation and things that are new. We want something exciting. Otherwise, we get bored. But Buddhist practice is not so exciting. It's a way of life. And we repeat things again and again. Because with our modern culture, we're always reaching out through our senses into the world to try to find something exciting. But in our Dharma practice, we are going in the other direction. We are trying to go deeper and deeper into ourselves, into the very center of our heart, which is where our Buddha nature is. So we have to remind ourselves to go deep and deep and deep. Then we say, whenever I am glad, I will dedicate that joy to the happiness of all beings. May their happiness fill the sky. Whenever I get trouble, I will take the sufferings of all beings as my own burden. May the oceans of suffering become dry. So this is the essence of Tonglen practice, of giving whatever is good to others and taking whatever is difficult to ourselves. It goes in the opposite direction from the ego orientation. All beings want to be happy. But we say, when I become happy, when I have some joy, I will give it to others. All beings want to avoid suffering. But we are saying, when I get some suffering, on that moment, I will invite more suffering to come to me. On an outer level, this is because my thought is for the benefit of others. On an inner level, it's because what we call happiness and what we call suffering are both emergent patterns, self-arising and self-dissolving without any true existence. So then finally we say, may all my virtuous actions quickly bring all beings in the world to enlightenment. In order to benefit beings, I will teach the Dharma and thus free all beings from the many sorrows that oppress them. So now you have this text, you can recite it again and think about it and observe how you deviate from your new wonderful intention. Sometimes we get lost. We forget to do the practice. We get angry with people. We become obsessive in our limited negative thinking. When this happens, it's important to recognize that you got lost. But it's very important also not to blame yourself, not to consider yourself to be a bad person, not to blame yourself, not to get depressed. Whenever you get lost, return to the heart of the practice. Just as if you were doing a basic shamatha meditation, keeping your attention on the sensation of the breath at the nostrils. When you get distracted, you just very gently bring your attention back to the breath without thinking about what happened. So always return to the good without brooding on the bad. So I hope this practice will continue with this in this life and in all your future lives. And I wish you well in this wonderful decision to transform the direction of your existence. And if you're interested, we have this empowerment of Padmasambhava next weekend. I don't know, will that be available in Russian? Do you know? Oh, very good. And you have the text to as well? Excellent. So, very, very good. So a pleasure to be with you, and thank you to Pedro and Milton and Olga. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Good to see you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Gracias, James.
Bye.
Yeah.